Hey, my friends. Hi, my friends. Today is chapter 3. Enjoy. This time, I have a printed copy of my book. I had to use my computer to read from my computer screen for the last couple of days because I messed up the printer, jammed it up, and lost. Couldn't print out all the chapters. But now I have my chapter all printed along with the first two chapters, and there is the name of my book. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to make it so you can read it. Roman Earth, Chapter Mark 2. Hey, Roman Earth, Mark 2. All right, here goes. Chapter 3. I think we're ready to free the princess now, Stephen says as they sit in the diner a few days later after he recovered from his challenge. A long, grueling 28-hour run around the planet to earn his samurai warrior status. Hell of a long run. And the one just running, he was doing other things as well. What do you want to do? When do you want to go, kid? Septietrix asks now. In 2 nights at 100 hours. Stephen replies, sipping some soda. We'll be ready, Stephen, Hannah Baxter says, nodding. We'll all be ready to go, kid. My son, Baroness Kilfor says. Magdalene chimes in. I will offer my sword services in this endeavor to free your sister, Stephen. As he stands at the table taking orders. Thank you, Master. Now, Tuck, will you pilot the shuttle for this whole operation? I doubt the Empire produces uniforms or trooper body armor that can fit an 8.5 foot tall person like yourself, Sepp says. All right. Little do they know that they have the support of the Special Forces, specifically the 11th Special Forces Group and SEAL Team 6. Two of the best anywhere. These orders came directly from the king himself. By the way, the 11th Special Forces Group is the group my dad actually was in when he retired from the U.S. Army. For real, by the way. I understand, Skipper, Natuk says, nodding. I want to help in any way I can. It's no 900 hours and the graveyard shift is just getting off while the morning crews are just getting ready to work and coming in to eat before going out to bed or work. Give me a second. The Silver Diner, as it's called, is open 28 hours a day and serves Earth cuisine and plays old television shows on the wall monitors and famous sporting events from Earth's past, along with modern versions of American baseball and American football, NFL. They are now played here on Ukrania Prime. Our informant gave us a digital map of the palace that'll get us to his audience chamber faster, Sepp says. However, all this was kept hidden in the shuttle in secret compartments along with their stolen uniforms and trooper armor. The hatches leading to the shuttle's interior are sealed by hand and via voice print identification only with a passcode and keycard swipe. Handprint, voice identification, and handprint. Well, guys, Steven says, shocked as he looks at his small smartphone and at a pic just received from the Emperor's audience chamber. I just got this from our mole. He turned the phone around so everyone assembled around the table to see it. Timestamp is 08:55, just a few minutes ago. Thank the God she's still there. The mole texted me just now. They say that she's still very much alive, according to the readouts. Steven says, holding back a tear. But a smile crosses his lips as he sees her face still contorted as it was when he last saw her shortly after being frozen in a block of clear Lexan steel back in Geyzel Cloud City. We'll get her out of there and back to Centauri Prime, kid, Sep says, resting a hand on Steven's shoulder. I know we will, Sep. I know we will. Steven says, nodding, sobbing for a moment. Okay, need a break. It's a little bit longer chapter, but I'm not going to tell you why. Princess, soon you will be free of your tomb and heading back to Centauri Prime with your friends. Admiral Natira Halko thinks to herself as she leaves the Emperor's. Give me a second, sorry. Audience chamber. She tears one last look over her shoulder at the entombed princess, where she still hangs from the ceiling, locked in the block of clear Lexan. She returns to her quarters in the heart of the Imperial Palace and calls it a night. She does this routine check of the Emperor's audience chamber for every hour of the day. The chamber is empty, otherwise, per the Emperor's orders. The palace was once the temple of the great samurai order, long before the rise of the empire and its emperor. I bet I shocked them when I sent them all with that. Sorry, let me start over. I bet I shocked them when I sent them that picture with the text messages. She thought to herself, along with the messages, that the princess was still alive, which was true. She wanted to reassure them that the princess was still alive and still in the audience chamber. Please make your move soon, she thinks to herself. I need a drink. Sorry, guys. Started a little early because I got bored. Usually I want to start at 3, but today I thought I'd start a little early. It's a long chapter, so I'll be on for a while. Back to my book. You guys ready to roll out? As Steven asks as he sits in the saddle of his Harley Davidson R6V speeder bike. The electro-ion carbon engine is idling. He's wearing an Imperial uniform, rank of captain. They're all donned in stolen Imperial officer uniforms and Imperial trooper armor. These forged ID badges clipped to the uniforms are pasted to their body armor. Supplied by the mole. Magdalene, a changeling, has transformed herself into a 6-foot-tall Imperial officer, now wearing a stolen uniform and forged ID cards. She's on her own Star 6V speeder bike. Her sword hilt is disassembled and hidden inside her uniform until she truly needs it. The rebel mole has supplied the fake IDs to a second party who delivered the package to the diner just a few hours ago. Everyone gives them a thumbs up. Let's roll, Steven says as he kicks the bike into gear and they roll off down the streets of Ekrania Prime, followed by the other 6. As they all zoom away, Natuk remains behind to lock the hatch behind him. He stays on the shuttle until the word reaches him that the princess is free and they are ready for extraction. They pass a massive casino that never closes, busy as always. They now they pass the now defunct Imperial Senate. The Emperor had just recently shut it down, so he tried to erase all memories of the old GFS, Galactic Free States. Sorry. It resembles an ancient sports stadium in the form of an oval bowl, e.g., the Rose Bowl, and is now used as a training ground for troopers. At the center of the grassy grounds is a tall podium for the President of the Senate and the Emperor to stand on to address the Senate. It's a lot harder reading. All right. We will open the Senate when we defeat the Empire in full and kill the Emperor, Guilford says. Over the two-way radio. Yes, we will, Baroness. Sorry, I need a sort of drink. All right, give me a second. My throat's a little sore. I didn't realize I was taking a break. Okay. I never thought I'd get this far. All right, I get back to reading. They can see the Imperial Palace off in the distance. It is massive and stands high above most of the other towers in its vicinity, each of the different departments of the Empire. The only department still inside the palace, other than the Emperor, is the Imperium, or the Imperial Secret Police. Hi, my friend. Can you hear me and see me fine? So to say, hey, see how you doing? You all right? Thank you for joining me. All right. Papers. The trooper says flatly as they approach the gate leading to the palace. She holds out a gauntleted hand to take everyone's papers and ID badges and scans them. Then scans them one at a time on a hand scanner. She snaps to attention hands as she hands the badges and papers back one at a time. She's wearing all gold trooper body armor with red rubberized undergarments, minus her helmet. She has a barcode and some tattoos on her face. I think I'm gonna make those the cloned Imperial troopers. You may continue, she says as the gate opens. Stephen nods as he continues to the gate and crosses a long causeway passing over a river of bluish water. Has been there since the long gone samurai order occupied this structure. It's filtered and cleaned 28 hours a day, full length of Ukrainian Prime Day. He passes through a portal into the Imperial Palace, then parks his R6V, a hover bike, over near other parked speeders and speeder bikes. And they see other troopers and officers milling about or standing by their mounts. But these men and women look totally out of place, just like him and his companions. Commander Spears. Who the hell are you? Stephen asks, shocked that he's recognized so easily. Lieutenant J.G. Ian Clark, sir. Commander of SEAL Team 6, sir. The officer says. Rebel SOG, command. SOG, command. Sent my team out to assist you. How many men do you have? How many of your men are with you, Lieutenant? Stephen asked. Well, 24 of us, sir. The best of the best, Hannah says, nodding. Hannah Baxter says, nodding. Thank you for your help, Lieutenant. Stephen says, smiling. Please address me as Stephen. I said hateful melody. Thank you, Stephen. Clark says, smiling and nodding. I hated not having a printed copy of this book. So hard to read and keep scrolling down like I was. Okay, give me a second. I need a drink again. What do you think so far? Good? Okay. So far, back to where I was. Stephen pulls out his small cell phone, and pulls up a map of the palace interior. It's highly detailed and shows up in three-dimensional form. However, it can also be presented in holographic form if necessary. I was going to just project up from inside the phone itself. Ahead is a library once used by the now defunct Samurai Order. Sorry. It was mostly empty, now used for trooper housing and training. Stephen, you do not have to worry about the shuttle and your companion. We have contact with him, Clark says. He will be ready to move out on your word. Thank you, Ian. How are there so few of you? Clark asks. We have a person on the inside working for the Alliance, Stephen says. She supplied our IDs and badges. I know, my people and I were supplied with the same badges. Clark says, nodding. Glad to know that the Alliance is looking out for us. Stephen says, they want the princess out and back to Prime as soon as possible. So do I, Stephen says. She's my fiancée. Sir, we're ready to move out, the SEAL trooper armor says. His helmet was tucked under his arm. An AKX 3616 EG AK-47 blaster rifle is slung over his shoulder. The gun resembles the rifle used by the Imperial troopers, except for it lacks a scope. Instead, it features a red dot scope mounted to the rifle's upper receiver. It also features a three-dimensional holographic sight on the end of the barrel. In other words, it's actually not real, it just sticks up, but it's projected holographically. Got a point on moving then, Chief. And thank you, Clark says. Then the Chief, petty officer, snaps off a crisp salute and walks off briskly to reprimand a couple lax troopers before donning his helmet and sending off a team of 4 SEALs down the long corridor before them. Okay. Stephen took the lead with Ian Clark at his heel, followed by 6 troopers, and Sep, Hannah, and another 6 troopers. Rena and Guilford, followed by another 6 SEALs. The rest of the SEALs take up the rear with Magdalene, who's protecting the rear of the column with her samurai sword, activated. Pistols and rifles were drawn and ready for action. They passed the entry to the vacant library. Continuing down the hall, the corridor, as the point team leads them along. Once we get to the Emperor's audience chamber, I'll need you and your team to cover our exit routes. Ian, Steven says. Yes, Stephen, Clark says, nodding. Duck! Stephen hisses as point team jaws up short, raises a hand. He ducks into a niche in the left side of the wall just as a column of some 35 troopers passes by, marching down the long, wide corridor, not even aware that there were rebels in their palace. Wow, that was close. Yeah, Rena says softly as they form up again. They look at the troopers' backs. I know, Stephen says. As they retake their positions in the column and the SEALs take positions to protect these people. But the SEALs know these people know how to handle their weapons. Why didn't we try to take them out? Rena asks now softly. We need to be as secret about our presence till the last possible moment, Rena, Stephen says as they continue down the corridor toward the center of the massive structure and a bank of lifts that go up and down. When do we make our way up to the Emperor's audience chamber? Rena asks. All right. When we reach the central hub of the palace, Stephen says, we go up about 75 meters before we move in, about 75 meters before we move up. At the rear of the long line, Magdalene and her own 4 SEALs cover the rear of the line. Her red-bladed samurai sword was deployed as they were looking to see if the troopers would turn around. However, they do not even turn back and look in their direction. Just keep chatting about patrol details and such. Everyone has kept a 2-meter gap between themselves. I take a drink break. The SEALs duck behind some metal crates and an intersection in the corridor, motioning for everyone to do likewise. Everyone follows suit as a column of some 75 more Imperial troopers passes through the intersection, unaware of their presence. This place is packed with troopers, Seth whispers. My team and my presence here are to everyone's benefit, Clark says softly. Thank you, Lieutenant. Dietrich says, nodding. As they pass the intersection, the troopers pass through. Troopers keep marching and talking among themselves as if there was nothing out of place behind them. You'll find out about that shortly. All right. Good, they're clueless to our presence, Hannah Baxter says softly. Yeah, Hannah. For now, of course, Stephen says, nodding. He, Hannah, and 2 SEALs are at the point now. Hannah in a trooper suit, helmet on, of course. Stephen and Hannah have their AKX 3616 blaster rifles drawn and clutched tight in their hands as they move forward towards the central hub of the palace. Excuse me. As he reaches another intersection, papers. A woman trooper in an all mirror black, what gold trim says. Body armor. Sorry, let me start that over. Papers. A woman in all black mirror black trooper armor. Gold trim says flatly. Imperium. Magdalene beams his head. Be calm and do as you're told. Stephen hands over his ID card and papers to the Imperium. Hannah comes forward to present her ID badge, which is pasted to her body armor for scanning. The other 2 SEALs present their IDs too as a column. Behind them remains at ease down the corridor. You and your people are clear to pass through, sir. Imperium issues IDs to everyone again. That needs to be fixed. Sorry. The people behind me are with us. Let them pass, Stephen says. Yes, the Imperium says, nodding her head. Thank you, Trooper. Stephen says as the column passes by down the corridor towards the banks of lifts. Magdalene has her sword hidden away so that her presence as a samurai warrior is not given away. You're welcome, sir, the trooper says as Stephen rejoins the rear of the column. Imperium. Stephen beams to his master, Magdalene. Scary. You did fine, apprentice. She beams back. Just keep your cool when you encounter more, just as you did with this one. These guys are scary by themselves. Put them together with 5 or more. It's game over for you. Sip says when they stop to regain their bearings and eat protein bars and drink some water. I know, she was Imperium. That was close then. Alright. I know I gotta fix some grammar errors. Stephen and Magdalene possess strong telepathic abilities, enabling them to communicate with each other mentally rather than verbally. A secret the samurai order that had been held for centuries before the fall. Plus, be able to manipulate the mind of a weak person to do as the samurai wanted. Additionally, they can also move objects with their minds, a phenomenon known as telekinesis. There lifts 10 meters ahead, directly ahead, Sepp says, studying his digital map on this smartphone. Good. Then from there to the audience chamber. How far? 2 levels up. All on foot. Sorry to say. However, the audience chamber is located some 50 levels straight up above us. Now let's get rolling, friends. SEALs. Clark says as he moves along the line of rebels. Stephen moves to the front of the column, but it does not take point this time. Right, stop for a minute. Take a little break. Thirsty. I hope you're getting this better than yesterday. Glad I did redo it last night for you. What do you think so far? You like it? I'm going to take a break, my brows. All right. Back to it. Everyone, be on alert. We're in deep now. Imperial country from this point forward, Ian Clark says as they reach the last doorway that leads to said stairwells, leading to the Emperor's audience chamber and his quarters. Stephen has his R8 and R12 in hand. Blaster pistol. He'd had it customized to his tastes and needs. So itchy trigger finger, sorry. I need to fix that. And a separate battery pack that powers the pistol, which in turn powers a custom red dot sight. To this point, he'd kept his samurai sword disassembled and stashed out of sight, but it was now assembled once more and hanging from his gun belt. Me too. Getting in deep trouble. Remember, we still have to get to the next level leading to the audience chamber, Rena says. Her LR-36B blaster machine pistol, always like a submachine gun. I don't know what else to call them. It's clenched tight in both hands, and it's one level above us. Thanks for reminding us, Rena, Steven says. Rena's near to the front, talking, taking cover for Steven, taking it, whatever. I'll fix that. Down, Clark says, dropping his hand, palm down, as he's watching the people at the point. Everyone falls to one knee just as a troop of 30 troopers passes by at a junction in the long corridor. Ducking down behind any furnishing or obstruction in the corridor. No niches or doorways to hide in this time. They all wait till the troopers pass out of sight. All right, keep moving, Clark says. The door we want is located just past where those troopers are passing down, Clark Gilfer says. They move forward to where Clark's men and women have positioned around the sealed sliding door. But only after the troopers pass by and turn a corner into an adjoining corridor. But as the door opens, everyone passes through it. Hannah's pistol holster bangs against the door frame, but none of the troopers turned to investigate the noise and kept walking. Clark and Guilford remain at the doorway, waving Stephen and Magdalene to rush up and through the doorway. Sorry about that, Hannah says as the door closes behind them. Forget Hannah, it was bound to happen, Stephen says. I need a drink. Stephen, you think you could help me mask our presence with your Shaki power of telepathy? For the Emperor, Magdalene asks now. They climb up the final flight of stairs to the audience chamber in the Emperor's quarters. Well, Workmaster, Stephen asks. It's kept me alive these last 20 years. Smiling as she reverts to her actual dwarf size with one eye and two horns on her head. She stands about 4 feet tall and has one arm, the other arm lost in a battle long ago. She also has two small pointed ears, age unknown. Sorry. Let's do it, Master, Stephen says, nodding. Closes his eyes and concentrate. They can sense the presence of many troopers on the floor above them, but he uses his burgeoning telepathic illusion to mask his and his friend's presence, as does Magdalene, who's adept at this power after years of being a samurai. Not just that, but a Grand Master Samurai. Go, 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 Magdalene says, as they all storm up the staircase. Stephen remains at the rear of the line to cover everyone. The column stops just at the top of the landing leading to the audience chamber. The door was sealed and locked. Stephen moves forward to join Magdalene, Clark, Sup, and Rena as they prepare to open the door. While Guilford remains at the bottom of the flight of stairs to cover them with her blaster rifle. He reaches out with his telepathic powers, extending it into the chamber and beyond. Jerks back suddenly when he senses evil incarnate. But he also senses the slumbering, dormant mind of Julia still locked up in the chamber in that clear Lexan block. Magdalene does likewise and senses the same thought patterns. jerking back at the presence of the Emperor close by, slumbering. It's almost... Right. Okay. There are several troopers between us and the princess, she says. The Emperor is there too, Master. I sensed his presence. I felt his presence too, Magdalene says. She can see the strange look on the boy's face after the brief touch with the evilest mind in the galaxy. Be the sweat on his forehead. I did not think he sensed our presence. We had a very brief, almost instantaneous contact with his mind. He does appear to be slumbering. He won't for long, though, Magdalene says as he holsters his Hartsfeld pistol, grips the hilt of his samurai sword, and activates it, producing an amber electro blade. And Magdalene activates hers and produces a red electro blade. It's cool. Yeah, red doesn't mean evil in my world. You'll find out later. Ian, want to give the signal, open the door enough for the two of us to pass through, then shut it behind us, Stephen says to the seal. I'll go through first. You follow me, Stephen, Magdalene says as the door slowly opens just enough for both warriors to pass through. Septon shuts the door behind them and holds his breath for 30 seconds, after which he follows them with the rest of the team. They follow the trail of death as they pass. Dead troopers lying there on the deck around them. Looks of shock and confusion on their faces as if they had no idea who or what had killed them. Interesting. This is too easy, Sepp says. His suspicions up. You think we're being led into a trap, Sepp? He asks. Yeah. Sepp says, nodding his head. Here's our way out, Clark says as they reach another door that leads to an upper landing platform. He assigns his 24 SEALs to guard that door and to cover the other door that they just exited from. Up ahead. Welcome, Tiger 4. Oops. Stephen hears the voice say as a woman in imperial uniform appear. Start that over. Welcome, Tiger 4. Stephen hears a voice say as a woman in imperial uniform appears from behind a column, unarmed. Her hands out where he can see them. You, Stephen says, shocked. How do you know who I am? I got the intel from a mole in the highest levels of the Alliance shortly after the Battle of Void. Oops. I will reveal her identity if you take me with you after you rescue the princess. A little shocking, isn't that? A little bit more shocking information you'll find out later. That I'll tell you. Comes later in the book. But you must take me with you. Take me to the princess now, Steve says flatly. No guarantees. Deal. You'll find her that she is still very much alive and still locked in that Lexan block, the woman says. My name is Fleet Admiral Natira Halko. I've been a rebel mole who supplied the plans to the Dark Star and who supplied you with the fake IDs and badges. Whoops. There's my one little catch. I get more stuff stored. She turns and leads them to an alcove hanging from the ceiling. Julia, Stephen says as he reaches up to touch her frozen body. She's encased in the same clear Lexan steel block since that bounty hunter took her, who owned Wolf, some 5 months ago. Still wearing her cat suit as well, her face contorted, one arm raised above her head, her left knee rose as if in a knee-jerk reflex, one eye half open, mouth in a frozen grimace. The last memories he has of when she was taken from him. He looks at the readouts on the side of it and cannot make sense of what they mean. Yeah. Halka walks to a wall control mat, presses some control buttons, and the block slowly lowers to the deck and falls slowly back onto its back, so Julia is facing upward. As the Baroness walks up and kneels on the opposite side to operate the controls, releasing the princess from her prison. I'm about to do some changes. You may want to pull your hands away, Commander, she says. The process is new to me, but never had to thaw a human from a Lexan block before. However, from first-hand experience, the melting process can't harm anyone who comes into contact with the surface, but not the contents of said surface, of the block, inside the block. I had to change that. That's something I gotta rewrite. As steam rises from the melting surface. Understood. Raising his hands away from the block. Steel covering her face melts away, exposing her face completely, but she's still locked in Lexan. But still unable to breathe, so Rena reaches down to place a breathing mask over her mouth and nose, starts pumping oxygen into the girl's lungs to help her breathe. The melting continues till her entire body is free of the block, and she takes her first breath in 5 months on her own. As Rena pulls the breathing mask away, Stephen reaches down and slowly sits her upright in the cavity created by her body. Julia, he says softly and lovingly. Stephen? She asks, confused. As she looks around herself, unthinkingly, I can't see you. That. And I'm not even done with this chapter yet. So it's okay, my love, Stephen says, resting one hand on her shoulder now. It's hibernation signals. You'll get your eyesight back soon enough. Is that your hand? She asks, now smiling. Yes, it is, beloved. He says as Rena sticks an electrostalic syringe needle into her arm and injects the contents into her body. Princess, this should help you recover faster, she says. Rena? Julia asks, confused. We're all here, Julia, Sepp says, as he joins them now. Kid, I don't mean to shorten this reunion, but we should get you two out of here now, understood Sepp. Feel up to walking, beloved? As long as we don't run a marathon. Yeah, I am. Julia says, smiling as Halka runs a med scanner along her prone body. She stops at her med section when she notices two tiny embryos nestled there in her uterus. Please, can we go slow and easy? You hear? Stephen asks everyone around him as he helps her to her feet, slowly and easily. Her body was weak from so long in confinement, as she was. Rep, Sina, the Admiral, and the Baroness take point, as Magdalene and a handful of SEALs take up the rear. Magdalene is back in her natural form. Her sword deployed, blade humming and alive. They start down the long hallway. Julia almost passes out. Sorry, damn spam risk. I need a break, she says. Is there a place we can rest? Stephen asks Clark now. They rush the kids into a side room and help Julia sit down on the floor, then rush back out to protect them as more Imperial troops rush out of the doorway they just came through moments before. Blasters blazing, taking out some seals as they fell back to the position held by Clark, Sepp, and Rena. Rena, Baroness, and the remaining seals. Stephen, I think you'd best get yourself and the princess out of here as soon as you can. Magdalene beams to him. What's going on, Master? Stephen asks back. Beams back, excuse me. Don't worry about me, warrior, he beams. You're a samurai master now. Okay. Stephen helps Julia to her feet. And then slowly make their way back out into the hallway to see blaster bolts crossing in both directions as Imperial troopers have pinned them down. He joins Sepp and the others now. Stephen sees the remaining seals with her. With Magdalene fall back to their position as blaster bolts crisscross the hallway now. Without so much as a thought, an invisible barrier goes up at both ends of the hallway between the audience chamber and the rebels and the Imperial troops. The Imperial swarming from the doorway in the other direction. Only the red blaster bolts from the rebel weapons pass through, whereas the green blaster bolts from Imperial weapons bounce off or are absorbed by the barrier. A little secret I introduced. They also have telekinesis or telepathy. They can create barriers, invisible barriers. All right. What are other means of escape, Clark? Stephen asked the lieutenant. That door on the left side, just beyond the imps, Commander. Clark says. Stephen sees the door, starts extending the barrier now, pushing the Imperials back beyond the doorway in question. As they all rise to their feet, he pulls the other barrier covering the audience chamber back with him as they advance towards the doorway in question. As they reach the doorway, another swarm of troops appears in the doorway. Commander Stephen Spears, the apparent leader of the group, calls out, "Who the hell are you?" Stephen asks, full of surprises now. Lieutenant Colonel Tomas Gonzalez, sir. 11th Special Forces, sir. At your service, sir. The man says, coming to attention. Cut the formalities, Colonel. My friends call me Stephen. How many men do you command, Colonel? Sepp asks now. 30 of the best men and women around, Captain. Gonzalez says as he and Clark have worked together in operations in the past. Behind him, Magdalene remains alone. I was expecting you, Your Excellency, Magdalene says. Sword drawn in a defensive stance, now is a group of black 7-foot-tall Imperial Guard. Each guard is equipped with long metal staffs, one end of which features clubs, the other razor-sharp points. Followed by the Emperor himself, Stelivanov. His double-ended sword was deployed, the blades deployed. The blades are each jet black obsidian. That's why the good side has red. Grand Samurai Master Magdalene, I thought you died years ago during the Purge, Stelivanov says, smiling sinisterly. I can't smile. Sinister. As you can see, I do live, she says. She takes her Saki stance. The blade is directly in front of her body. She turns to face the Imperial guards first. I shall finish what I was unable to finish years ago, and end your reign of terror once and for all, or die trying in the process. I shall end your reign of terror once and for all. Hold on. I shall end you, Magdalene, Master Samurai Master. Sorry. I gotta rewrite that one phrase. I shall end you first, Magdalene, and then I shall kill your apprentice and his friends. I don't think so, Your Excellency. He is a master himself, farther along than you or I will ever were. He's a master, unlike you. You're just a master of evil. So I have to redo that section of that text. Master, be careful, Stevie beams out. Just get the princess out of here, back to Centauri Prime, Master. Magdalene beams back. And he gets nothing after that. I can see you a little, Stephen, Julia says now, smiling. You can? Stephen says, smiling too. It's still a little blurry around the edges, but I can see his handsome face. She says, the meds the doctors gave me were experimental, but appears to be working in helping the princess recover, Rena says as they work their way up a flight of stairs to a landing platform now held by Green Berets and Natuk. My dad was a Green Beret in real life. You two get your butts up to that shuttle. We'll hold these imps back as long as we can, Sep says as they blast away with their rifles and pistols. Sep, Stephen says, incredulous now. Go, kid, Sep says as he blasts away with a stolen Imperial blaster now. Stephen can see the urgency in his eyes and hear it in his voice, so he and Julia rise to their feet and make their way to the waiting rear hatch of the Imperial shuttle, now defended by Natuk and some Green Berets and body armor. All right. It's almost done. I promise. Natuk, I need your help to erect a barrier between us and the Imperials and the shuttle. He beams to his friend. Can you help me? My strength is almost sapped out. You got it, kid. Natuk, the Nagano warrior, beams back. Need a drink. Don't worry about the exit from the audience chamber. It should be inaccessible any second now, Clark says as they hear a muffled thud. As explosives go off, closing the door below for a while. Oops. Stephen and Julia rush towards the shuttle, now held by Natuk and a handful of Green Berets. Suddenly, green blaster bolts stop plowing into the metal storage containers on the wall on their right. Both rush up the ramp and into the rear cargo hold of the waiting shuttle and collapse on the deck as Stephen's last remaining strength ebbs. The barrier is now only held up by Natuk. Natuk waves for everyone else to hurry and rush up and into the rear rear cargo hold of the shuttle. Hannah's hit in her right leg as some Imperial shots now pass through the barrier, and she's screaming in agony as at the same time multiple shots vaporize Ian Clark. The only casualties of the escape were Magdalene, Ian Clark, 3 SEALs, and 2 Green Berets. Natuk rushes out to grab Hannah as she looks in a lot of pain from her leg wound, but is limping along as fast as she can. He sweeps her up in her arms and carries her into the rear cargo area, slamming the hatch shut behind him as he laid Hannah on a bunk to be treated by a med tech. Get us out of here, Pack. He calls to the only occupant of the cockpit. Yes, sir, the pilot, says Seal. Calls out as she shuffles. As the shuttle, sorry. As the shuttle lifts off and is suddenly pounced on by a swarm of black painted scorpion fighters. How soon till the cooking device is up and running, Chief? Natuk asks, joining her in his customary seat on the right side of the cockpit. Any second now, sir, Chief Petty Officer says, as the shuttle's shields take a pounding from the scorpions on their tail. Oh, great. Yeah. Got light a little bit. That's right. He sees a green light flash on as the clicking device activates. Peck now banks off to port to lose the Imperials. Peck and Natuk take to orbit a different heading from the one they took off in. Shuttle Imperium, the Rescue One. Do you read me over? She asks now. All right. Somewhere in blend. It's okay. Shuttle Imperium, Rescue One. What is your status? Over. Comes the instant response. Okay, declaring a priority 1 emergency. We have wounded on board, Peck says now. The package is in the house. I repeat, the package is in the house. Good luck. Good work, Shuttle Imperium. Comes the excited response. The package is Princess Julia, Eamon assumes. I just hope this old crate can handle the flight. We're heavy, Natuk, Peck says. Plus, we lost port thrusters in the escape to those damn scorpions. Bible will not let us fall in our mission. But I will not let us fail in our mission. I will get us back to Cap Centauri Prime, no matter what it takes. I do hope you declared an emergency, Peck, Natuk says. I did as soon as I declared a priority 1 emergency, friend. Peck says, nodding. As she sees a delighted young couple being reunited, Stephen and Julia, hugging for the first time in months, and Hannah is treated for her leg wound along with the other wounded survivors. Not as many as were expected, at least, and they hug and kiss while living in shame. Sorry, I need to take a break. I need a drink. Oh, I needed that. You like it so far? Little twists and turns compared to the last book. There comes the big twist. Princess, Commander, I have some strange but happy news for the two of you, Halka says as she moves up now. You're pregnant, Your Highness. I'd say maybe 4 weeks along. She shows the kids scan she took of the princess and the embryos nestled in her uterus. Wow, pregnant, Julia says, shocked. Twins, too, Your Highness, Halka says, smiling. Twins, my God, Stephen says, smiling as he and Julia hold the small pad together to look at the embryos nestled there in her uterus. Give me a second. And thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate the thumbs up. All right. Take a little break. A lot of reading ahead of me. Behind me, I mean. I did actually change book 1 a little bit, one little part. but I won't say what I did. The shuttle lands on the uncloaked SS Blackhawk corvette that the Princess used as her base of operations when off-world, and the wounded are tended to and rushed to the med bay in the bowels of the ship. And Julia follows up to have her pregnancy verified. The doctor even picks up a pair of rapid heartbeats. Whoa. She asks how long the two of them had been together. Then how long was she encased in Lexan's steel block? Stephen indicates that Julia was in the block for approximately 5 months. 5 months. Doctor then explains that Julia's body is catching up for the lost time. By the time they reach prime, Julia should have a visible baby bump. Oops. Julia is so surprised by this news, as is Stephen, especially Stephen, as he had. Sorry, damn phone, sorry. Especially Stephen, as he has news. They must break to her news that will dramatically change their family dynamic. But he will wait till they get back to their quarters. Julia, sit down, please. As they return to their quarters, he says as they return to their quarters. All right. Julia sits on the edge of the bed as Stephen paces back and forth in front of her, trying to get up the nerve to tell her the news of their family lineage. Julia, have you ever wondered why you and I have the same mismatched colored eyes, but only reverse to one another? He asks, sitting next to her now. I just thought it was a coincidence. My love? No, it is not. You see, you and I have a lot more in common than just mismatched eyes, he says, starting slowly. You see, you and I have the same parents, not the ones we've known for 18 years. You're my sister, my twin sister. What? She asked, shocked at the news. Our father was last freely elected Chancellor of the Galactic Free States before the Emperor took power and killed him. Michael L. Spanlighter II. We were born on Ukrainia Prime and whisked away by a dear friend of ours, Tegus. As the Emperor started the purge of Samurai Order, you were taken to Centauri Prime and grew up there in royalty. I was taken to Earth. God rest her soul. I grew up there, oblivious to your existence or my family lineage. It was by chance that we met and became so close as we are. You know what I mean. Still living off having a princess kill our father, and they try to kill us on Ukrainia Prime, but Tegus got us out before the fire consumed the palace. Lebnowski? Julia says, shocked. Who's our mother? This is the part I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. So brace yourself, Stephen says. Our mother is none other than Lebnowski herself. Oops. At the time of our birth, she was Princess Erwina Spanlighter, first concubine of the Chancellor. But the Vice Chancellor, as he was at the time, seduced mother into changing to dark arts, killing our father, and trying to kill us. Sorry. But she failed in killing us. And here we are. Mother was a Grand Master Samurai at the time of the purge. This is too much to handle for me right now, Julia says. But I believe you. I want you to know that despite our family lineage, I still want to marry you. And our parents support us wholeheartedly. I love you with all my heart, Julia. I love you too, Stephen. Okay. I think it's the last page of the chapter. Final page. Oh, I am so sorry you were not. I'm sorry. Start that over. I am so happy you were not harmed before you were taken. And after we rescued you, Stephen says, I tried to get to you before that bounty hunter took you. But I was wounded and had to be rushed to a medical center. So we had to postpone your rescue till the time was right. So the wedding is still on? She asks, smiling. Of course it is. Just postponed till a certain princess was rescued. Smiling too. Right. All right. Your Highness, Captain Saul von Gret says, nodding as Julia walks into the bridge of the Black Hawk. Where's Commander Spears? He's sleeping in our quarters, Saul, Julia says, as she stays out of the bridge crew's way. It sure is good to have you back with us, Your Highness, the captain says. It's good to be able to see and hear the people again, Captain, Julia says. We should be in prime space in about 12 hours, Your Highness, Gret says. Have you sent the coded signal to Prime per my instructions? Julia asks. Word for word. No mentioning you being on board. Just that a big surprise is on board. Thank you, Saul, Julia says. She's still wearing her cat suit, not cleaned since her rescue. She has even cleaned and oiled her collar, which she still wears around her neck. Reaches up to tug down on it for the millionth time. Congratulations on the pregnancy, Julia. Gret says. Thank you, Hiram. Julia says, smiling. She and the captain go back, way back. But she is less formal among her crew on the Black Hawk. Maintains a light and friendly atmosphere on board. Now, my friend, is chapter 3. What do you think? Oh, I just finished chapter 3. That was a long book chapter, but I like the little detail. Sorry I started a little early, but I just couldn't wait. I was getting bored at home. I hope it came out clear for you this time. I didn't mind reading it chapter 2 last night. How would you know? Chapter 4 I don't think is as long as chapter 3 was, but chapter 4 was. Chapter 5 should be more interesting because there's a little bit more. That's where I like my favorite part of writing books. War comes in, but chapter 4 is the royal wedding and other things. And that's probably the only. Let me show you the title of my book. That's the title of my book. I said in my the title of the stream, but this is the actual. This I had to show you. I wanted to make sure you see that. You'll like it. You won't see why I put titled that until you get to the last chapter of my book. I'll be a few weeks. I'm actually going to be publishing it international, worldwide. But it's going to be a few weeks before that happens. My first book, I mean. But I'm excited. It's going to cost me $600, but I'm excited. Oh, let me show you some of my pictures I drew for my. This is from my. Yeah. Okay, hold on. This is one of my blasts. I don't know if I should do this. This is my last pick last time around. This is one of my blaster pistols. The laser pistol. Laser weapon. All my weapons are. Oh, I don't know if I should do this. This is when I was talking about the clear Lexan block. When I drew this, I didn't have any idea what she was going to be wearing or what she was going to look like. And this is just an idea. But then I was like, I'm going to stick with that and I'm going to use it. I got some other stuff. Oh. That is the hand communicator, Rebel communicator, smartphone, I call it, because it actually uses smartphone technology. And if you watch the original Star Trek TV series, that is what gave me the idea. Those communicators they use in the original TV series, those gave me the idea for that. And that's life size, full scale drawing. This is my friend Matuk. At the time I drew this, I didn't have him. It was in my last. What's a touchscreen? What's a smartphone? Well, listen. But this is Matuk. I drew this before it gave me the idea of making him a samurai warrior, so he doesn't have a sword in the story in this picture. But I came up with as I was writing the second book that he would be a samurai warrior. This my friend is Magdalene. I had to redo the head. She's actually got one eye instead of slashed through her one eye. As you can tell, I don't draw people or creatures very well. But I never was good at drawing people. I could draw things like planes and guns and stuff like that. And I don't use rulers. I haven't used a ruler since high school. I don't know why. I hate to draw with rulers. I could teach people how to draw without a ruler. Sorry. You go away. Not you, my phone. Wasn't talking to you. I was talking to my phone. Yeah, it could be not. It doesn't have to be a touchscreen, but maybe where the buttons are you saw on the drawing or the cell phone could be touchscreen. I draw the Emperor's face. I forget. That's in one of my other notebooks. I gotta find all my drawing, all my picture notebooks with my drawings in them. Maybe hold on. Ah, there's my Emperor. He has a weird mouth. It's actually like a three-pointed mouth. I don't know what you call it. He used the Andorian antenna from Star Trek for the character's head. And that's his body, minus the head, because I can't draw people, like I said. That's his weapon. See anything else in this drawing on the book? This is the Talon. Originally, it was going to be my Imperial Starfighter, but I was like, I got rid of that, scrapped it, and then reintroduced it as the Talon. And you see why I replaced the Talon with the Y-wing, the Viper. Big and bulky. So the drawings in here I didn't keep. This is the knife I introduced at the beginning of the book. It goes after the blade, that crystal. That's the K-bar knife, I think I call it in my story. That is a Rebel assault rifle, blaster rifle, AKX 3616. As you can see, I used the AK-47 as my baseline, and then the holographic front sight for the gun, and the rear sight right here. I like drawing, as you can tell. I think I showed you this before in my other previous drawings. That's an Imperial Imperial Trooper body armor, and and an Imperial officer's pistol. Sorry, there's a little bit better. I use a lot of American stuff, and I try to create some of my own design names. As you can tell, they are light, but I like to draw. You like my drawings? I always grew up with the original Star Trek series. This is 1,000 years in our future. I love aliens. I don't think we're the only intelligent life in the universe. I hate to be honest with you. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I'm not going to go rant about that. But I don't think we're the only intelligent life in the universe. No. I do use a digital pad. I do create my own digital pad. It's actually an IBM Apple combination. Big pad. That's what you see the meds. No, there's a different scanner I use for that. Somewhere in my pile of mess I have around me, I have a notebook, another notebook with more drawings in it. Now the book's not done. I got more stuff I can show you, but I'm going to show you that after I get through the major battle I'm about to have in this book. I need to go in and do some editing. I can't believe it. I even designed the space star system, the Alpha Centauri system, 6 planets. I think it was. I don't remember. Did I actually have a blockade in the book? Imperials Empire blockades the star system, the Alpha Centauri system. I think it might be in this book or it might be in the next book. I forget. I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate you listening. If you like, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, if you have any comments, I could do better on the story, let me know. I listen. I might not respond fast, but I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to get better at responding to people's text messages on my comment screen. I love astronomy too. I also grew up a kid. I had a telescope as a kid. I'll always get it out at night when it's a clear night and study Jupiter. I identify the 4 big moons around Jupiter. You can see the red spot, great red spot around on Jupiter. That was my favorite thing to study at night. I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate you listening. I'm glad you. I'm glad you listened. You like my story, my book so far. Yeah, good night, my friend. Or a good day. I don't know what time it is for you there. It's 5 minutes to 4 for me. And you're welcome, my friend. I might evolve humanity. Then again, I don't know. I like us as we are. Now, my only curious thing is how I first started writing this. I had the idea that Atlantis was a real place and that mankind evolved on Atlantis, developed space travel, stuff like that, and left Earth. taking what I call Bigfoot, Sasquatch, creatures like that from our Earth. Not everyone, because there was still some left behind. Evolved Neanderthals, as far as I care. Hence the Nagano warrior race. Can't talk all the time. I'm losing my voice. I don't think chapter 4 is as long as chapter 3 was. Bye, my friend. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching again. Enjoyed talking to you. Yeah, and